What the Master Yi is completely insanely strong in the new patch, guys. He's not it's not Master Yi tier anymore. He's actually an S tier champion right now. This champion with the new buff is absolutely insane. However, he's actually pretty hard to play. Like, you have to play him correctly because in the early game he still really sucks. But oh my god, when you get to the late game with the build that I'm about to tell you, it's completely broken. Like, I'm telling you, if you reach late game with Master Yi, if you play him properly and reach late game, he is probably the single most broken champion in the whole game right now, with the true damage. And oh my, this is insane. So in the beginning part of the video, I'm going to explain to you how to build Master Yi. I cannot believe that I'm making a Master Yi video. What the hell? Okay, but yeah, in the beginning part, I'm going to explain to you how to build Master Yi. There's timestamps in the description to skip to the gameplay immediately. So I tested out a lot of builds. I tested out so much on Master Yi. So I tested out Blade of the Room King first. I tested out going for Bloodthirster first. I tested out building an early With's End. I tested out building a later With's End. I tested out everything. I tested out Yumo's Ghostblade. I tested out building the Death Dance. You know, I basically tested out pretty much anything you can do on Master Yi. But let me tell you guys that the build that I have right here is by far the best build. So let me explain. Basically, you are trash in the early game. All you want to do in the early game, and more about this during the gameplay part, by the way, all you want to do in the early game is farm. You want to farm, farm, and farm. So when you get to Nafori's Quick Blades, you're not going to be strong. Like, this item is not going to make you strong. This item is just going to be a nice power spike because it gives a lot of attack damage and some crit. But you're not really going to utilize the passive very well because you only have 25% crit chance. So after that, make sure you buy boots, by the way. And here it starts to get interesting. Solaris Charge Blade. You always want to get Solaris Charge Blade second. It just perfectly synergizes with Master Yi, and also it perfectly synergizes with Nafori's Quick Blades, because with Nafori's Quick Blade you can spam your abilities and you'll have a lot of ability haste. And like, there are two more ants. The next ant is the first ability cooldown already gets reduced when you hit basic attack, and the last ant is whenever you kill an enemy, all your non-ultimate abilities get reduced by 70%. So you're going to be able to use even more abilities, thus allowing you to stack up even more Solaris Charge Blade stacks. Do you guys get the point of where I'm getting? In the early game, like, all these items are just not going to be strong in the early game. But when you reach the late game, when you only get a single kill in a team fight, you should be able to absolutely wipe the entire enemy team. You should be able to. Also in the mid game, like even in the early game, if you can just get one kill, you're absolutely gonna wipe the entire enemy team if you just play it correctly. So let's talk about the boots and the enchantment, because this is probably the first time that you guys have ever seen Locket enchant on Master Yi. I'm gonna explain, but first let's talk about what boots to build on Master Yi. There's a few boots that you can go for. First of all, Ionic Boots of Lucidity. I don't like it that much. I mean, no, it's good because it has a lot of cooldown reduction, but you already have quite a lot of cooldown reduction. As you can see, you already have 40 cooldown reduction, and I go for Hunter Genius. So you're gonna have, or sorry, not cooldown reduction, ability haste. You're already gonna have quite a lot of ability haste. So these boots are not gonna be worth that much, but they're still worth it if you just want to, like, you know, if you want to spam your abilities, if you want to completely hard spam your abilities. So I really love these boots, Mercury Threats. Mercury Threats are really good because the single biggest weakness of Master Yi, guys, is CC. When you get stunned down, rooted, charmed, everything like that. So what the Mercury Threats going to allow you to do, it's going to allow you to take reduced duration of stuns, charms, roots, things like that. Now here are the other boots that are really good. Glutinous Greaves. Glutinous Greaves are amazing if the enemies don't have a lot of stuns. Because, so the items that you build in the early game, the first 3 items have 0 vampirism. So the 8% vampirism from Glutinous Greaves is going to give you so much, like, it's just going to make you very more, your sustainability is going to go up by a lot. First of all, because in team fights, you already do an insane amount of damage and you're going to be healing up, right? You're going to be healing up. But the second reason is also, whenever you go into a small skirmish and get low, you can just heal up on minions as well, because you can just attack minions and heal up with the 8% physical vamp. So, you know, these are the boots that I would go for, either Glutinous Greaves, Mercury Threats, and Ionic Boots of Lucidity. Honestly, Boots of Speed, the thing is, these boots just suck. These boots really just suck, and you don't need the passive of it. You know, people tell me, yeah, boots of speed are really good because they make you super fast. They're literally useless on Master Yi. Let me tell you why. Because the ultimate in the late game, you're pretty much always gonna have the ultimate, and you're gonna have 100% movement speed slows reduced instead of 30%. So it's literally useless. Do not build these boots. And about the plated steel caps, don't build these boots either, because you're like a how do I say it? Like a glass cannon assassin. You don't want armor or magic resist. You're a glass cannon assassin. The only armor that you want to have is as your very last item, Guardian Angel. That's it. But now let's talk about the next part of the build. Infinity Edge. As your third item, you build an Infinity Edge. At this point, you're going to be critting pretty much every time, and Infinity Edge, of course, is going to increase your crit by a lot. So as your fourth item, it's situational. Bloodthirster is going to give you the most damage and just the most everything. The most damage, the most physical fam, the most everything. This item is going to be the absolute perfect fourth item. But if the enemy has a lot of ability power, Withstand is actually going to be worth it. So the thing is, Withstand is already a pretty good item on Master Yi. It's already a pretty good item. It's just, it deals a little less damage. That's why I wouldn't recommend it always. I would only recommend it if the enemy really has a lot of ability power, like especially if you're against champions like Akali and Katarina, because you cannot really avoid damage from them. So, you know, against those types of champion, you should really build a Withstand as your fourth item. Otherwise, get a Bloodthirster. It's just, guys, with the Bloodthirster, the thing is, a lot of people say that you shouldn't build Solaris Chargeblade and go for 100% crit. It's true, but let me tell you why it's fine on Master Yi. Because when you have all these items, and on top of that, the Hunter Genius, and the Nafori's Quick Blades, the amount of times that you're going to have your abilities is insane. Like every 2 seconds, you're going to be able to use your first ability. Every 3 or 4 seconds, you're going to be able to use your third ability. Every time you're going to be, you know, you're also going to be able to use your ultimate. You're going to use your second ability. You are going to spam your abilities. That's why it's okay to go for 100% crit, because it's just totally worth to go for the Bloodthirster. It's better than the Blade of the Rune King, because Bloodthirster just gives you way more damage. Way more damage. You do not need the attack speed from Blade of the Rune King, because you already have a Solaris Chargeblade and Master Yi's ultimate. So for your last item, it's completely situational. Completely situational. Do you need a Guardian Angel? You get a Guardian Angel. Do you need a Withstand? You get a Withstand. And there's another item that I really love, which is Starrick's Gauge. I honestly have never seen anyone build Starrick's Gauge on Master Yi, but let me tell you, Starrick's Gauge gives you a lot of max health. You should build this one if the enemy has like a lot of burst damage against you. Starrick's Gauge is gonna, the lifeline of the Starrick's Gauge is gonna allow you to get saved, right? Damage that puts you under 35% HP grants you a shield equal to 75% of the bonus HP, which is big, right? You're gonna get a lot of bonus HP, and this is gonna save you when you get really low, and that just perfectly works with Master Yi in a very late game. But as I said, it's completely situational. Guardian Angel is amazing, Starrick's Gauge is amazing, Withstand is amazing. It is situational what last item you get, guys. By the way, do not build any armor penetrating item. Obviously, there are two reasons. The first reason is you have a Solaris Chargeblade, you deal true damage, and the second reason, your third ability also deals true damage, and you're always gonna be having it up. So that has been 8 minutes of me just talking about how to build Master Yi, because it's really important. So about the runes, Conqueror. It's very easy to stack up the Conqueror. For your second rune, you always go for Brutal, because you're playing jungle. Brutal is going to give you faster jungle clear. You really need it on Master Yi. Like literally, if you switch out Brutal, Master Yi becomes D tier champion. But if you play him with Brutal, he's S tier. It's that big of a deal. You have to use Brutal, because otherwise in the early game you're gonna get so low in your jungle and it's gonna take you way too long to clear it out. Here I have Hunter Titan actually, but the thing is, now that I'm thinking about it, yeah, it's good. See, the thing is, if the enemy doesn't have a lot of CC, you could go for bone plating for the early game. It's just Hunter Titan is just gonna be really good in the mid game. That's the thing. Like with Master Yi, you just want to get to the late game. So, you know, through the early game, you just need to farm. Through the mid game, you can fight, but Hunter Titan is going to be really nice for that tenacity. And in the late game, you're just going to spam your abilities. You don't even need the Hunter Titan anymore. But I still recommend it for the mid game. It's really good. So for your fourth item, Hunter Genius, for the ability haste. Whenever you kill 5 enemies or get assists on 5 enemies, the ability haste is just insane. You can also go for Pathfinder. It's just really good on jungle to have Pathfinder, but I prefer Hunter Genius because, you know, the 15 ability haste, the 15 potential ability haste that you can get from it is insane. So now let's talk about the spell. So you obviously you go for Smite because you're jungle, but now let me tell you something. So Flash is, in my opinion, the best one. However, there are some other things that you could potentially do. If the enemy doesn't have a lot of mobility, you could choose to go for a barrier and smite or ignite and smite. I don't want to recommend you to do this. I want to tell you to give it a try. Just give it a try. Try a barrier, try an ignite, but Flash is gonna feel more safe and it's gonna be better, but sometimes barrier or ignite could be better. So yeah, enough about the build. Let's now get into the gameplay. Alright, onto the gameplay. Who would have thought that I, the guy that literally made a whole tier for this stupid champion because I hate him so much, would make a video on Master Yi? Who would have thought? And guys, I have so much to teach you about Master Yi because I think I played like 50 games on him, and let me just tell you that this champion is hard. This champion is really hard to play, and the main reason for that is if you don't play him correctly in the early game, you will get absolutely demolished. So okay, let me tell you what I'm really talking about. He really sucks in the early game. The first major weakness of Master Yi is his jungle clear, and you'll see what I'm talking about. So take a look at this. I'm taking the jungle, all good, but when I get to the blue buff, and you'll see what's gonna happen. When I get to the blue buff, I am gonna get very low. So when you play Master Yi, it's incredibly important that you know where the enemy jungler is. Incredibly important. So there I could see that the Rengar was on the top side. He is likely going to be moving to the bottom side. And if he's likely going to be moving to the bottom side. So I should be able to take my blue buff fine. So I'm going for it. But here you're going to see that I'm going to get really low while taking the blue buff. And this is a really dangerous moment. Like as I said here, here it already gets very important on Master Yi. You really have to know where your enemy jungler is. And if you know that and you can secure the blue buff, you've already pretty much passed the first hindrance that you have to pass, right? So here I was checking. Master Yi is definitely not the best ganker. Definitely not. Not in the early game. He's really good at late game, of course, but in the early game, he's not a really good ganker. He has 0 CC. You only have some damage. Let's take a look at this. So the Nami is pretty low, and Kai'Sa is also pretty low. Let's take a look at what's happening here. I use my true damage, I flash, and I get the kill. So let's quickly talk about Smite. On Master Yi, you never, ever, ever take the blue Smite. Never. Let me tell you why. So Master Yi does not need the blue Smite. You already have your ultimate. Your ultimate is more than enough to chase any enemy. More than enough because of the movement speed. So the red smite is going to give you bonus damage to an enemy. Like when you use the red smite on an enemy, in the coming 5 seconds, they're going to be taking bonus damage from you. So it's going to be really, really powerful for you. So when you dive on an enemy that you want to kill, use your smite, the red smite, and then attack them. Right, like right before your attack, right before your first ability deals damage, you use your red smite and you're going to be dealing way more damage to them. It's really, really good. So about the third ability, you want to use it whenever it's up. I've tested a little bit with damage per second. I've asked around, and every time it came out as you always want to use your third ability when you're farming, when you're attacking enemy champions. Because see, the way that the third ability works is if you don't use the third ability, I think you're going to deal like 10% more physical damage. And when you use the third ability and it's on cooldown, you're going to lose that damage, right? So I thought it might not be worth to always use it, but it is always worth. I can tell you it is always worth to use your third ability because of the true damage. Always worth it. So now let's talk about the single buff that in my opinion made Master Yi pretty much broken. So we all know that his first ability got buffed, it deals more damage to minions. We all know that the true damage of his third ability got buffed, which is really big. But let me tell you what the absolute biggest and most broken buff is that Master Yi received in this patch, which is his ultimate. Guys, when you reach level 13, which means that you're going to be able to upgrade your ultimate to level 3, and you have a Navori's Quick Blade, Solaris Charge Blade, and 5 stacks of Hunter Genius, you are genuinely, like seriously, always gonna be able to use your ultimate. Your ultimate is gonna be on like an 8-second cooldown after the 7-second timer ran out. 8 seconds. I'm pretty sure it's 8 seconds. Now, how crazy is that? You guys tell me right now how crazy that is. So, okay, it's crazy. However, it still doesn't make Master Yi broken. And yet again, the main reason for that is his early game. Guys, Master Yi's early game is just so damn weak. As you can see right here, I'm kind of hesitant. I'm like, guys, it's unnecessary to go for it, but you know, I'm still going with the flow because my team is trying to go for it. But this is really not ideal. But still, let's take a look at this. Let's take a look at what I'm gonna do. I get a kill. What? What just happened? Did you see that? Did you see my damage? Did you guys just see my damage right there? Did you see that, or was it just me that saw that? I did not even have a single item, but as I said earlier in the video, if you can get a single kill in a team fight, you are gonna be able to go absolutely ham on the enemy, because your abilities are gonna get, the cooldowns are gonna get reduced. And this is just the start of it, guys. In the late game, it's gonna get way more interesting. Oh, it's gonna get way more interesting. Basically, if you win the early game on Master Yi, you should win the whole game. That's basically how it works. Obviously, it's not always gonna work like that, but if you win the early game, you pretty much won the game. But you still don't want to get too cocky. All you want to do is farm. See, now the thing is, Master Yi is not slow at farming. He's actually pretty fast, especially after the buff to the first ability. He's pretty fast at farming his jungle. So, you know, just farm your jungle. Just farm. Stop walking around and trying to look for ganks like I'm doing right now. Actually, no, what I'm doing right now is going for turrets. So, you either want to get turrets or you want to take farm. Getting kills with Master Yi is not going to be easy, as I said, because you have no CC whatsoever. You can only really get kills in team fights. What was I going to say? Yeah, so just farm, just farm. So as you can see here, I'm looking for farm. I see the enemy jungle, I take his farm. My jungle is up, and you know, after this, I'm going to go back and take my jungle as well. I'm just taking as much farm as I can. Everything that I can take, I'm taking. Here, I don't really want to go. It's not the most amazing call to go, but I don't want to leave my team alone. Like in situations like this, just go back and take your farm. You do not want to overextend on Master Yi, guys. Just keep farming up, keep taking everything you can. You just want to feed yourself. You want to make yourself an absolute monster. And of course, the only way that you can do that is by farming up every single minion that you can. So here you can see, I'm even taking the big fat brown guy. You know, I'm going to take the big fat brown guy. I'm going to take the jungle camps under here, the wolves. I'm going to take my whole red jungle. I'm going to take everything. That's basically what I'm trying to tell you guys. I am going to take everything. Because I'm just hyper farming myself so hard at this point while taking my jungle. Just the amount of gold per minute that I'm taking is insane when you look at it right now. So what I would say, where Master Yi changes, like where it changes from early game to mid game, is when you get a Solaris Charge Blade. This is the point where you are going to be strong. Like Solaris Charge Blade is the point where you're going to be strong. Not insanely strong, but here you can be a little more aggressive. Like right now, I can do a little more aggressive plays. Like I can dive a little deeper because the Solaris Charge Blade obviously is going to allow me to do way more damage. So when you reach late game Master Yi, which is basically at the 4th item, like not even the 3rd item. When you get the 3rd item, you know, you're going to do more damage, but I would still say it's not the late game Master Yi that can just steamroll teams. When you reach 4 items, you pretty much become the steamroll Master Yi. This is where it really starts to, you know, become very fun. 1 second, guys. He tries to go for me. Let me tell you, like you may be confused as to why I just killed him so fast. So let me just tell you. So The first reason is Solaris Charge Blade, the true damage from the Solaris Charge Blade. The second reason is my first ability. Your first ability crits, and if it crits, it deals a lot of damage. And the third reason is my third ability. So I basically deal so much true damage that I'm just shredding right through their armor. It's like, you know, I can burst enemies down super fast, super duper fast, especially a squishy champion like Rengar right there. He's such an easy kill for me. So here I was looking, what kind of boots do I need? So I go for the Glutinous Greaves because they don't really have a lot of CC. Glutinous Greaves, like this is gonna allow me to heal up as well because I'm dealing an insane amount of damage and I just want to sustain the game, right? By the way, guys, if you're enjoying this video, and you will enjoy it later on, like just trust me, you will enjoy this video, give it a like. Let me just tell you, if this video reaches 1,500 likes, I'll make another Master Yi video very soon. I'll just make another one because screw it. Let's take a look at this. I used my ultimate. I dodged. Oh. Yeah, I have my first ability again. I have it again. Oh my god, just look at this. I got another kill. See, let me now tell you a bit more advanced Master Yi stuff. So Master Yi's abilities are pretty straightforward, right? You would think that it's just pretty straightforward, and in team fights all you gotta do is just spam your first ability. I'm gonna ask you guys to test your knowledge. What do you want to do with the first ability in a team fight? So the obvious answer is just use it often and, you know, damage the enemies. But there is another very big purpose behind the first ability in team fights. A very, very big purpose that kind of makes, like, if you don't do this, you can be a good Master Yi player. But if you do this, what I'm asking you guys right now, you can be an absolute godlike Master Yi player. So test your knowledge. What is it that I'm talking about the first ability that you have to apply to your Master Yi gameplay? Put it in the comments. Test your knowledge. What's gonna happen here? Oh, look at the Vayne damage though. Insane. Yeah, I just overextended here. Oh, I screwed up. I screwed up so hard here. So let me tell you now, if you haven't written it in the comments yet, make sure you pause the video right now so I don't spoil it for you while you're writing it. This one is not that hard. This question is not that hard, but applying it is really hard. So let me tell you, okay. The first ability deals a lot of damage and everything, but the first ability also makes you untargetable. What does this mean? You can dodge anything. You can dodge anything. So, for example, when Ziggs uses his ultimate, I can dodge it with my first ability. When Orianna uses her ultimate, I can dodge it with my first ability. When Nami uses her ultimate, I dodge it with my first ability. You can dodge everything with the first ability. Whenever you were gonna take a lot of damage from the enemy, you dodge it with the first ability, guys. And see, so in the very late game, you're gonna be able to spam your first ability. Like in the very late game, in team fights, it's over. But in the early mid game, it's not the case. In the early mid game, right now we're between early and mid game. At this point, you have to dodge enemy abilities with your first ability. It's really important because this is gonna allow you to actually survive and really surprise the enemy with a lot of damage, especially when you have the Glutinous Greaves. Because with the Glutinous Greaves, your first ability is gonna heal you a buttload because you're gonna be dealing physical damage and you're gonna be healing up 8% of that physical damage, right? So keep that in mind, guys. You can really surprise your enemies with Master Yi. Even if you're at like 5% HP, if you dodge a very important executing ability, you're then gonna heal up maybe back to 20-25%, and you know, you can continue fighting. You can literally continue fighting, and like this is the thing that makes Yi broken in the late game. And I want to repeat, broken in the late game, not right now. But let's take a look at this fight. I'm just kind of waiting on the side. I'm not really going in. I'm just kind of waiting for them to go in. Let's take a look at what's gonna happen here. What is that? What is that? Just tell me, what is that? I'm sorry that I'm just laughing at this, but what is that damage on the Vayne? See, the crazy thing about Master Yi is whenever you get a takedown, so either a kill or an assist, you reset your non-ultimate abilities by 70%. So you're gonna be able to use them again. That's what makes Yi absolutely crazy. That's just. And next time, actually, when I use my ultimate, let's pay attention to the cooldown of the ultimate, because I'm pretty curious how low the cooldown is right now. Because I have all my hunter stacks, I have the max ability haste that I can have. I'm pretty curious how low the cooldown is of my ultimate, so I can actually show to you guys how broken it is, because it's really low. Oh, by the way, about the locket, you can also use QSS. Use QSS against big CC. Okay, my ultimate is on 25-second cooldown, but you have to keep in mind you're gonna be able to use it for 7 seconds at least, and whenever you kill another enemy, it's gonna get reset. The duration is gonna be 7 seconds again. Like, just take a look at this. My ultimate is on a 10-second cooldown, but I still have my ultimate. It's on a 10-second cooldown, it's on a 6-second cooldown, but I still have it. Look at this, look at this. 3, 2, 1. I have my ultimate. Look at this. I literally have my ultimate again while it's still active. I have my ultimate while it is still active. That is how broken the ultimate buff is on Master Yi right now. Take a look at this. Boom. Pretty much one shot. Just... Oh, guys. I am really gonna be blessing your ranked matches with this one. I am really gonna be blessing your ranked matches with this one. Poo. That's gonna be fun. Oh god. Alright, let's just take a look at how much damage I did. Look at this broken elo game, by the way. How the hell am I supposed to reach Challenger like that? I was at 205 LP the other day, but yeah, unfortunately I dropped. How much damage did I do? Did I check? Did I check? Yeah, I probably checked. You can rewind the video and you'll see. So yeah, thank you guys very much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed the video, and yeah, I will see you all in the next Wild Drift video. Bye bye.